Hello, this is Dаяna Kристиан, and I want to tell you about a workshop that I'm going to do in Russia on March 26th, 27th, and 28th. It's about a governance and decision-making method called, in English anyway, Sociocracy. And Sociocracy is a governance and decision-making method that I especially teach to people in eco-villages and other kinds of intentional communities and member-led groups like various kinds of co-ops and environmental activist groups and also networks. And so I'm going to be teaching that on March 26th, 27th, and 28th. It's going to be at the ЭТНОМИР Park, which is about 2 hours from Moscow, and it's sponsored partly by the ЭТНОМИР people and partly by the Russian Eco-Village Network. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what the workshop's going to be like and what we're going to cover and why I think this is important. So any kind of group needs to know how to organize their work and make decisions about the policies that will guide their work. And so Sociocracy is all about organizing work, making decisions to guide that work. And it's the best system I have ever found for eco-villages or intentional communities. If you saw my workshop or heard about my coming to Moscow and St. Petersburg last year, you know that the main thing I do is teach about how to start successful new intentional communities and eco-villages. Well, the other thing I like to share with groups is, and here's a really good way to manage and govern them with a built-in excellent decision-making method. So that's why I'm coming back to Russia to teach this. So this workshop will be 3 days, and we're going to cover 7 basic primary parts of sociocracy. These 7 parts, which I'm going to name in just a minute, all go together in a mutually reinforcing way. They're mutually beneficial, meaning that any one part helps all the other 6 parts work better. Kind of like a bicycle. If you think about a bicycle, it's got basically 7 parts. The frame, the front wheel, the back wheel, the handlebars, the brakes, and gears, and the gears are connected to the pedals and the gear chain and the seat. I think that's 7. And you need all those parts or you can't ride the bike forward very well. Without some parts you can still ride the bike, but without other parts you can't at all, like without the frame or the front or the back wheel. And Sociocracy is so like that. 7 parts, all of which make each of the other parts work better. So when I teach Sociocracy, I say, please learn and understand all these 7 parts, and then try it for a while and see how you like it, and give yourself feedback. That is to say, measure and evaluate how well it's working for you at periodic points in time, and see if you'd like to keep it, change it a little bit, or stop using it and go back to what you used before. It's all about experimentation and understanding and learning what you can learn. So let me tell you about the 7 parts that we'll look at in the workshop. There are 4 different meeting processes in Sociocracy. Things that you do in meetings. And the first one I call proposal forming, or creating new proposals, because you have to create a proposal before you're going to consider and decide the proposal. This would be proposals about how you organize the structure of the group and also how you organize your work in that structure. The second meeting process is called consent decision-making. And very specifically, it is how you consider and decide the proposals that you've already just before created. So this would be a draft proposal, and then you consider and decide it. We use the word in English consent, as in consent decision-making, which I know is not really on this sign in Russian, but what it means is you don't ever approve a proposal unless each person can consent to try it for a while. It's not the same as loving it, approving it, or passing it. It's not that positive and emphatic. It's more like, yes, I can live with this. Let's see how it works out. Because in Sociocracy, you get to change it if you don't like it, or you get to take it away if you don't like it at all. Okay, so what's the third meeting process? This is selecting people for roles. There are 4 roles in every circle, and a circle means like a committee or a team or a department if it's a business. And you select people for these roles through a wonderful election process that I will be happy to show you. It's really quite a enjoyable process. And the 4th one goes with the process of selecting people for roles or elections. This is called role improvement feedback, the way we help people who are in roles understand, oh, I see what we're doing here in this role. I can do this, continuing to do this thing that I've already been doing because my peers in the circle have told me, hey, we really like that you do that. Would you keep doing that? Here's some places where I could improve. Oh, I can improve that? Yeah, how about you try this? Okay, I'll try this. So people who are in any role always get better at the role because their friends in the circle help them get better. When someone's getting better at the role, the next time they have an election, they might want to select them again because they've already trained them. So these 2 go together. And these 2 go together. We first have to make a proposal before we can consider it. We're going to talk about feedback loops, which has everything to do with both of these in just a minute. It's the 7th one of the 7th parts. The next one, and I'm going around this way, is circles and double links. In sociocracy, there are several things that go on, and one is a change of structure. If it's a business, there's usually the boss, and departments, and managers, and supervisors, and the workers. In a nonprofit that's organized like a business, very often it's the same. In intentional communities, very often there is no department or boss or anything, but there are different committees. So what we do in sociocracy is we have a series of circles of people with different specific functions in the organization, which together get all the work done. And there are people, these little tiny circles stand for people, who are in these circles, who are in 2 circles at once, meaning they go to the meetings of this circle and they go to the meetings of that circle. This is called double links. It's hard to explain quickly in this little video, so I'll just tell you it's a very good system. We'll get into it more in the workshop. But circles and double links is the actual structure. The 6th one is, oh my gosh, is this going to work? I know. I'll just cover it up. Hope that's okay with you. Cover it up like this. Every single circle has a very specific area of responsibility. The thing it's for, the thing it's supposed to take care of. The finance circle, the new members circle, the land use and site planning circle, the promotion circle. It's very, very clear. This will make more sense in the workshop. And every single circle has ongoing objectives, continuous ongoing objectives that continue on through time. The finance circle, for example, has the area finance of our organization, and the objectives make sure we pay the bills and collect the money and keep up with our legal obligations for, say, property taxes or insurance or anything like that that may be needed in that part of the country for that kind of organization. So it's very, very clear what we are to do and not do in every single circle because of the 6th one, which is areas of responsibility and continuous objectives. The last one is called feedback loops. So I'm going to, it's so long to fit on my paper here, I'm going to cover up this one a little bit. Feedback loops are built into every proposal that we make in every circle. Feedback loops, what is that? Engineers and inventors know about this. So I'll tell you very briefly. An engineer and an inventor has a design and they draw it on a paper. And then they put it into physical reality by making a prototype. And then they try it in real life for a while and they say, oh, that's not working too well, and they change it. They change the design and they implement it again. So they go around between 3 things: designing it, implementing it in physical reality, testing and measuring, evaluate it, changing their design, implementing it, measuring it. The man who invented Yes, invented. Sociocracy was an inventor. And he invented something you have in your pocket and you have in your briefcase. Yes, he invented the flat speaker because speakers used to look like big trumpets. He invented this back in the 70s for Philips Electronics in the Netherlands. He's from the Netherlands. And because he's a good inventor, he invented the system too. So like any good system, there's these three parts. To make the plan, to implement the plan, and to measure and evaluate the plan. After we're measuring and evaluating it, if it didn't work out too well, we could either keep it or change it or throw it out. But if we change it, then we make another proposal and consent to the proposal, and then we implement the proposal, then we measure and evaluate it, and then we check, do we want to keep it the same as it is, or throw it out, or change it. So anyway, all of these things go together beautifully. So here's what the workshop's going to be like. Lots of physical exercises, lots of me drawing things on the board with little colors, and signs that already exist in Russian so that I'm not trying to draw them in English with somebody else drawing it in Russian. They'll be in Russian to start with. If I don't have the grammar here correct, please forgive me. You'll probably know what I mean anyway. The signs, by the time you get them, will be perfect. Okay. Also, there are exercises to practice forming proposals and consent decision-making and selecting people for roles and role improvement feedback. This one here, consent decision-making, is the most important one of all. This is the one that all the others are based on. And we'll practice this many, many times until you can do it in your sleep without thinking. So that's the Sociocracy workshop. It'll be a whole lot of fun. I hope you will come and join us. Again, it's March 26th, 27th, and 28th at ЭТНОМИР Park, 2 hours away from Moscow, sponsored partly by ЭТНОМИР and partly by the Russian Eco-Village Network. Thanks for watching this video.